so come back from Freestyle Friday.
Yeah.
And you already mentioned, the Harmony tells you, he's done.
Yeah.
And so, it's solo time for you. So, what was like your primary focus once that happened?
Well, I had never done a solo project. And so I was like, all right, well, here's a new challenge. Now we're going to do a solo project. And so I did a little, I wouldn't say like a mixtape. And it was called History. But I did it like his story, like, you know what I'm saying? And so I put that out. And it was received really well. It had a song called Hometown on it with had an Adele sample on it. And that track took off, and everyone was like, bro, Hometown's my shit, I'm like, all right, bet, I appreciate it, thank you. And so we were going to shoot a video for it, but then we had an issue with clearing the sample with Adele, so we had to kind of scrap it. We couldn't really do the video, and we couldn't sell it, because that's where you get the copyright infringement. So we just left that as free, and I started performing them solo songs and working on an actual EP, which was called The Life of AJ Milton, where I just took Hamilton as a city and gave him a personality. AJ Milton's Hamilton spelled together. And so I just took different aspects of that. And I have a buddy of mine, Jim Simpson. At the time, his grandmother was alive, and she was around back when all the gangsters and all that was in Hamilton at the Grand and all that. So I'm like, what better intro? Because H.A. Milton sounds like an old-ass name, right? Mm-hmm. So we sat down with her, and she just kind of starts talking about all that old-school shit, and we recorded it and put it as the intro and the outro of the project. And then in between all that, it's just different struggles that I felt from people that I knew in my life going through on each song. And that project did pretty well, and it still does pretty well. It's getting play over in Europe and all that right now. Okay. So... And that came out 2016. Huh?
What platforms is that?
It's on Bandcamp. I believe it's still on iTunes. I'll have to double check, but it's on Bandcamp, SoundCloud, and I want to say iTunes/Spotify, but I could be wrong on those two. I'd have to double check for you, but it's definitely on Bandcamp and SoundCloud for sure.
Right. So, what after H.A. Milton? Mm-hmm. What have you? Been doing it?
Man, little stuff here and there. At that time, I came out 2016, and I was just to the point where I'm like, man, I'm getting old. You know what I mean? 2016, I think I was. Let's see, what was that? 6 years ago? Yeah, 6 years ago, and so I was like 32. I was like, man, I'm done. I'm old, bro. I've been chasing it since I was, 14, 13, and so now don't get me wrong, I still dabble. And I would drop tracks here and there and all that, but that's the last project I really put out. However, I have been dabbling a little more here recently, so.
That's what I was going to ask. Yeah. Is there any, just like with my thing here, obviously is movies, but sports was in my background.
Yeah.
So you always have, particularly basketball, you get maybe that itch to, do something, to play, to coach, something like that. So I was going to ask, like, that itch to maybe do something more album related or something like that.
Yeah, I might do another project, man. I'm not sure. I've done some things with Pastor Shack in Hamilton, where she's had like music groups of kids that like want to rap or make beats or whatnot, and they've had me come out and help, and then also tell my story, kind of like we're doing now, but more of just a setting where I'm talking to the kids, letting them know like, look, I understand your parents might be broke, dad might be on dope, you might be in prison, you might be raising yourself. I get it. You're gonna come out of that. You ain't stuck there forever. You know what I'm saying? Just if you find something you love, stick with it. Don't listen to nobody, because there can't nobody that ain't done it tell you can't do it, because they don't know how to do it. So so we would kind of do that kind of thing and just kind of help motivate. I would show them how to structure songs, how to write, how to build a song with the choruses and verses, how to count bars. And these are young kids from like junior high to high school. So, and that was pretty cool as well.
Okay. So, I mean, you're a rapper, like we know. What's your thoughts on like current rap music? Because it's a lot become different from when we was in high school to the stuff now.
Yeah.
So, what's your thoughts on it? Is there any of these new guys that you like listening to a lot, or how's that go?
So, I still gravitate towards the real. You know, I was so glad when that mumble rap bullshit got up out of here, because that's when I really hated rap. Like, I wasn't even dabbling in it no more. I was like, man, this shit's corny. I'm done. But back in like 2011, 2012, you know, drill really started to pick up. And at first, I'm like, man, this drill's bullshit, right? Until I really started listening to it. I'm like, man, it's the same shit we was listening to before, just in a different fashion. So I really took to like King Von, Lil Durk, all them. Even like Moneybagg, Gotti, T.I., you know, because T.I.'s an older cat, but he kept going. But nah, King Von was my guy, man. Like when he started, and then, you know, he tragically was killed a couple years ago, November of 2020, I think it was. And so I'll still bump Durk and all that now, but as far as where it sits now, I think it's doing great. I think the real is on the way up, except for they're allowing that their street life, when they make it, they're not leaving it. And it's taking a lot of them, man. Like a lot of the Chicago cats or the Tennessee, even down in Texas, like with Mo 3 and them, like once they're getting this money, they're not protecting that breadwinner, and they're letting that breadwinner go right back to what he knows. And it's killing them. So that if that's one thing, man, it's just I just wish that they would realize they don't have to be in that shit no more. Like, we understand you came from that, your story, we hear it, we feel it. You ain't got to do that no more. Yeah. But their mentality they don't know nothing else. So I like where it's at now, especially with that. Now all that other popcorn shit, them Island Boy bullshit, you can keep all that. Right. But these solid motherfuckers seem to have it going in a real good direction.
Okay. Yeah. So maybe it's the comparison of how you look, or I don't know how much style-wise really. What's the Slim Jesus? What do you think about him?
I mean,
have you had any interactions with him, and what do you think about him?
Not really. Like, you know, I met him or whatever, of course. I offered to help him, like, look, this is the way I would, whatever. He took it upon himself, and I mean, I think the whole world knows the Vlad TV interviews what destroyed him. If he'd have talked to me, I'd have been like, man, don't even bring it up. I would just be like, man, you know what it is. Next question. Move past it. You ain't gotta lie and say you out here killing cats, but don't be out here telling them I've never done nothing like that. You don't. That's what killed him. Like, you can't put out a drill song and then tell him, like, only drill I ever used was a Black & Decker. Like, you know what I mean? And so I don't think he did anything wrong. I think he ran with it. He did great, made some good money, but he could have made a lot more money and been a lot more lasting had he left that interview alone. Right. But it is what it is now. And I don't even know what he's doing now.
I don't either.
I ain't heard his name or nothing. I don't know if he's back at Walgreens now as Robert or what. Right.
So did you and I don't personally know any of his music, but have you heard any of it? And
just the drill time. No, I take that back. He did one a song he did like in a cemetery, and I think it was decent. Because I was at the studio and his producer Brandon was actually working with my guy Otto, who I was working with at the time. Otto kind of took Brandon in and was showing him some ins and outs, and so he had played it, and it wasn't horrible, but it wasn't great neither. But again, I don't know what kind of guidance he had as far as the whole industry goes to level him up, but I haven't heard anything from him here recently, so I don't know what he's doing.
Okay, good. And go along with that, around here and probably everywhere, but it's a lot of people who dabble or aspire to be bigger artists or whatever. So I mean, and some have had some success, like a K. Riley or something like that.
Yeah.
What do you think about, and Lantana, I think was
Lantana. Showtime's done pretty good in the city too. So
what do you think about like the local collection of artists and what they're doing
I mean, I think they're dope. I think there are a lot of cats that are doing it, but for whatever reason, those that stay here, it's really, really hard for them to make it out of Cincinnati because Cincinnati's not a music hub. It's not known to be. Online, though, the internet, the way it is now, if we would have had that in 2007, I'd have been no question. We would have skyrocketed. It would have been over. But it's almost like they need to take their Cincinnati sound and go to Atlanta. Atlanta is where a lot of cats are going to get signed. Jack Harlow left Louisville, went to Atlanta, blew up within 2 years. So if they've got it and they can do it, get up out the city and go. Like Lantana was an exception. He came out with that all hustle no luck, and it was just like boom, But he also had some good money behind him too. Mm-hmm. But I mean, in the last 10 years, Lantana's the only artist that really got a big deal out of Cincinnati. Like, I don't know of another artist that have come out of Cincinnati. There was that one weird dude that made all them weird noises, that Lonze or Loans or something like that, or Laze or something. But he was breathing all heavy, making weird noise. I'll show you when we get done, bro. It's weird, but he kind of, it was like horror hip hop or whatever. But I think he ended up going to prison and losing what he had going on. But them two right there are the only two that actually came out of Cincinnati, didn't leave, and blew up. So get up out the city, man. If you got a talent, you doing something, get up out the city. Go somewhere, Atlanta, New York, somewhere.
Got you.